Hello class, this is Mr. Alvey. Just to help you focus on your asteroid program, I was going to help you out with checkpoint 11b. Just like checkpoint A, we are trying to make a template that can be used with multiple data types. With checkpoint A, it was templating a function that we could make an algorithm out or something like the sort or the swap. And in this case, we are going to be using a template to generalize a class. So it's just a little bit more with a class, but it's pretty much the same. You're going to have a template prefix that you're going to put before the class definition. But then inside the class, you're going to be able to use any of those classes just like a member function of the mystery type. So your job for 11b is to create the pair class. Okay, so we'll have class pair. We'll get the OO. My computer's trying to think for me. I didn't want that. There we go. Alright, so we have the class pair. Put the semicolon so I don't forget that later. And we'll probably have a private and a public section. But before we get any farther, I better put that template prefix at the top of my class. So just like in the functions, we type the keyword template, and in brackets we're going to declare class T. But in this one it asks us that we have two potentially different data types as the parameters. So all you have to do is include both of those in the template prefix. So I'm going to specify, and these can be any name, so I'm going to just number my T's. T1 for the first mystery class, and T2 for the second mystery class. So this template is saying that this class will have access to two possible classes of any given type. Okay. There are four functions you're going to need to, four member functions that you're going to need to create. The methods, I guess the book uses the term methods. And there's get first, get second, and set second. I'll just do the first two, the get first and the set first functions, just to demonstrate. Okay, so the first variable is going to be of whatever the first type is. Okay, and that's just going to be a private data member, and that can be used in any of the functions. And so to define the get first function, the getter, I'll say okay, declare this as type T1, whatever that's going to be. The name of the function is get first. And notice I'm not having any parameters. In template functions, you have to have parameters in the functions, or the compiler isn't able to recognize the signature as a template, and it won't know which data type to pick. But because we've templated the class and the variable is a member of that class, then we don't necessarily have to have parameters in every function to be able to use those templated variables. So in this case, okay, it's just a constant getter. I can return my first variable. And it will recognize, because it's in this templated class, that it's the data type whatever T1 data type ends up being. Okay. And then we'll also set a setter. We'll get a setter function. Doesn't return anything. It's called set first. And this one will have parameters, because we have to get a value to set the variable. And it's going to be of type T1. And it'll be a reference to whatever value we're given. Okay, and I'm just declaring I'm just putting the body of each of these functions inside the header file. We won't go over the syntax of actually separating out into a separate CPP file. So in this case, you just take the name first, and that equals the value. Okay. And then you also will need to do the get second function, the set second function, and also a display. Display will probably need, don't forget, if you're going to do some output, don't forget to include the IO stream. And then when you create your display function, all you need to do is just use the name first and the name second and just see out like they're normal things, and the class will figure out what data type those are. Once you have your class template, there's also a CPP file included to help you test to make sure your pair class is working properly. This demonstrates, I just want to go over how to declare a class of the template type. This is where we figure out what types are going to go with those variables for that class. So right here on line 24, we are declaring a pair object called full name, and in brackets we explicitly specify what data types are going to be given to our template variables. So in this case, we're saying, okay, create a pair object with T1 as type string and T2 also as type string. Okay. And in this case, line 43, we are creating T1 as an integer and T2 as an integer. They don't have to be the same. In this one, line 63, we can create a pair object with T1 as a string and T2 as an integer. And then the class template will be able to handle all those different data types and however you want to create the pair object. So that can be useful to help you template classes. All right, have a great day.